Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 553 of the Dead Robot Society. I'm Paul Lee Cooley, and joining me, Terry Mixon.
Hey
What's
there,
up?
neighbor.
Are we going to do the whole neighbor Reno
I
thing
didn't do
again?
I didn't do Heidi Ho.
No,
I
you
just said
didn't.
hey there.
Hey there. Hey there, ho there. What's up, man?
It seems like, only a day since we talked.
Dear listeners, in case you missed us last week, we missed us too.
Curse those technical difficulties.
I have had a very bad 2 weeks of computer problems, which we think we've solved, but we're kind of up against it because we have to find new ways to record, new ways to do this, new ways to do that, because, well, Google's pretty much fucking everybody. So please bear with us as we move forward.
It's going
We'll
to be
try to.
challenging going forward getting guests into Discord.
Well, we're still going to see which bridge we're going to jump off of. We'll have to figure it out. We're still playing is basically what it comes down to. But for this episode, it's all going to be as normal. But that does not explain to me what you've been up to.
I have been writing. I've got a book out on pre-order. I'm experimenting with pre-orders even though it's a very short one. What else am I doing? Writing a short story, third out of three that I owe. And then I get back to the Empire novel that I've written 5 chapters on.
Yay.
So I'm hoping to simplify my life by getting all those little side projects knocked out so that I can focus on the novel that I need to be focused on.
Oh, God. I envy you. I envy you so much. That's all you had to report, huh?
I can't think of anything else.
God.
If there's something else you're thinking of, you're going to have to prompt me because I don't remember it.
Pre-order.
I mentioned the pre-order.
Oh, did you mention the pre-order?
Yeah, I said I got a book out on pre-order, a short one,
Never mind. Never mind.
and it's Blood of Patriots, book 4 in the Humanity Unlimited saga. And by the time you hear this tomorrow, it'll be about a week from actually coming out. It comes out the 23rd.
All right.
Very short pre-order.
Very, very short pre-order. How long is the book, though?
The book is 104,000 words, so the longest book I've written so far.
Wow.
You know what the cause of that is? Not seeing
Cooleyitis?
the not seeing the ending clearly until late in the book,
That's how
and
all my
then
books go.
refusing to rush the events that needed to happen to close out the narrative.
Oh, you mean being professional about it, knowing the beats and where you need to put stuff.
That's right. I refuse to go ahead and try to shortchange the ending because then you're Game of Thrones season 8.
Ow. Holy crap. Well, I've been putting in a lot of time on the computer stuff. I'm finally at a respite right now until tomorrow when I find out, or Thursday when I find out what my new Mission Impossible will be. So, in addition to getting all the computer stuff figured out and development stuff doing, I have gone through Trident Part One, and I'm putting the edits in and getting ready to start recording it. Uh, while I'm going back and now writing part two. I'm probably going to change some stuff in part one before I record it. So getting that work done and still writing on some other stuff at the same time. Um, just some little projects that may go nowhere. We'll see. But working on that as well. I really need to get my ass back in the chair though to write like a madman. It just has got to happen. I'm really missing it. Really missing my buzz.
I can feel your pain.
Plus, I have a book and a half left to finish Derelict off. So that's exciting, but I really want to get to the next book, which means I have to kind of finish this one.
So when's your romance starting?
Technically, it already started. Really want to get Trident Part 2 done so I can move on to book 5 and get that one done. And Terry's got his spray bottle out.
No, I unplugged the Alexa so that Donna can stop trying to call me.
Gotcha. Understood. So the worst part is I figured out what needs to happen in book 5. I spent this morning working on the layout of Trident Station because I realized I didn't know what it looked like and how it was connected. And I've reached that point where I actually need to know that. So I spent today perusing 3D models of space stations, looking at other stuff and getting ideas. And now my notepad is filled with measurements and all sorts of other bullshit that I need, but I'm not going to tell the readers about that. That
Yes,
I
but
need to know.
you could go ahead and put it all aside as a Patreon exclusive for your Patreons.
Shit, ain't nobody gonna care about that. I wish I was better at Blender and 3D modeling because I would go ahead and buy one of these models and then tear the hell out of it to create a Trident Station, but I'm just not that inclined. And who's got time for that shit?
Find a pro.
Yeah, find a pro. So anyway, that's pretty much what's going on with me. Just trying to get back on the clip now that it's been 2 months being, fighting fires and getting everything done. So that's where I'm at.
It sounds like we're coming out of chaos and moving toward order.
Yeah, until the next injection of entropy skews things out of control again and everything falls out of its orbit. I'm such an optimist today. Have you noticed that?
You're the reason the monster wins.
Yeah, I'm the reason the monster wins. So along those lines, in addition to all of our testing and everything else in new technologies, we thought we'd actually try and have an episode.
What?
Stop. We thought we'd actually try and have an episode. Now, that said, considering how punch drunk we both were after 3 days of trying to get testing done, we were a little silly, but.
And we recorded it at like 9 p.m.
We recorded it at 9 p.m. So, yeah. So we're going to talk about character craziness and other nuts because Terry is such a fucking squirrel.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
And with that, here's the chaos.
So what should we talk about today?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
How the last 2 weeks have shown us that no plan goes according to what we would prefer.
Fuck me. In case you didn't know, listeners, we've had a very bad 2 weeks. Paul has had several hardware failures because he was dealing with really old shit. Let's see. Google's taking away Hangouts, so we have to find a new way to stream it and record to YouTube. We have guests who cannot figure out how to use Discord, and we're afraid that their computers might explode if we try and get them on it. So Squadcast sucks. Zencaster sucks. What the fuck? And Skype is an utter piece of shit.
Just list the things that don't suck.
Discord. OBS. It's just been so shitty. This is
been a rough couple of weeks for Paul.
This is the 4th time we have actually tried to get together to record an episode. That's how bad this shit has been. And this is the 2nd time I've talked to you today because we did a rehearsal for tomorrow's rehearsal.
Testing. We were doing testing to see if we could get something to work before we have an interview tomorrow.
Yeah, and it still didn't go.
Guests going forward are going to get the word. We're going to use Discord. We hope you're with us. If not, you're not.
If not, we'll make other arrangements. Christ.
Uh-huh. And what other arrangements would that be?
I don't know. Carrier pigeon. I don't know.
What a great interview opportunity. Carrier pigeons.
You ask a question, and you'll see it about 3 months later.
And what's the answer to the question?
Do you remember the, God, what was the movie called? It had Dick Van Dyke in it, and it was Robinson Crusoe, but they named it differently, and it was comedy because he wrote something down in the note about the hula girl that was on there and put the message in the bottle and threw it out in the ocean. And a few hours later, he picked it up, and the return was from his wife. He pulls it out, and she looks pissed. It's the photo of her going like this.
I vaguely remember this, but only very vaguely.
Oh,
Van Dyke
my
is
God.
still alive.
Do what now?
He's still alive.
Yeah. I think he's probably the only one alive that was ever in that movie. Jesus Christ. That's such brain damage. I remember sitting in the TV room when that scene happened in our house in Canada. Because it was on like a Sunday afternoon or something. I remember it very vivid. That's the only fucking thing I remember about that movie or that day. For some reason, it's stuck in there. I don't know why. Memories are weird.
It's true. I'm more prone to remember something that happened 20 years ago than what happened yesterday.
That's just because you're an old fuck.
It's true.
Says the guy with hearing aids.
Eh?
So great. You can hear it, but can't remember. And I can't hear it, but I can remember it.
Something like that.
Yeah. That'll go really well. So, characters that are eclectic.
Eccentric. You know, I just got this one more question.
Or just fucking weird.
Did you see the, God, I can't remember the name of the show or the character. The
That's
one
helpful.
Well, hang on. It was Monk. Monk was the show.
Oh, yeah, Monk. Yeah.
The character just way over the top OCD.
Beyond OCD.
Way over the top.
Beyond OCD. Yeah, and you get to see all the damage caused by that particular tick problem. But it's the same with, as Columbo. All the people that come in contact with him immediately dismiss him because he's so bizarre. And
That's totally true.
And he looks like an idiot half the time.
Peter Falk did an amazing job with that character.
Yeah, basically you invite the suspects or whatever to look down on you, talk down to you, and if you get the idea that, hey, there's something hinky here, just let them keep doing that. It won't work well.
As an aside...
No. We're 2 minutes into the show, Terry!
I know, but it was an awesome scene. I don't know which cop drama it is that my wife is watching, but she found a scene for it that she wanted me to see. And it involved a bunch of cops that had two guys that they thought had killed someone. So they put them in separate rooms. And then one cop goes in there and tells the kid, yeah, your friend's already rolling over on you. He's already given us everything we want to know. Right now, he's got McDonald's with the Dr. Pepper. That's what he's got right now while you're sitting in here. And then he opens the door to step out and gives a head nod to somebody on the way who leads the other kid past holding the McDonald's. And the guy's going, I'm still not going to tell you anything, but it's too late for the other guy to hear it. He's like, what the hell? The one in the room is like, what the hell? And then they took the kid with the McDonald's to the copy machine after having a little discussion and taped his hand to the copy machine and convinced him that it was a lie detector. And they had another cop that they called the professor there. And every time he said something, the cop would hit the copy button and it would either say, the other cop would hold up a paper that said true or false. And they convinced him that this was a lie detector machine that was never wrong and got him to confess. And I'm like going, I wish I could disbelieve this. Kids these days, I really do wish I could disbelieve this.
Wow.
But those characters were filled with personality.
Oh,
they
I'm
had
sure
their
they
own
were.
unique personalities.
I'm sure they did.
I don't know anything about the show, but just from watching it for those couple of minutes, that one scene, I was like, oh, I can see that these characters are well developed. They've got their own idiosyncratic quirks going on.
I assume this is a cop comedy show.
It was not a comedy. If I'm right, it's the one, there's one about a guy setting up a drug dealing thing, and it's the cops that are fighting him. It is drama, and there's lots of violence, and it is not a comedy. So seeing this kind of weird quirkiness in there was definitely interesting.
Told you Tarantino directed it?
I haven't got the slightest idea.
Tarantino's everywhere today. He knows all, he sees all, he is all. Or some other characters.
I want to go ahead and see Quentin Tarantino do the next Night of the Living Dead movie.
No. First of all, you say that, but you'll never go see it. So what's
totally
the point?
True.
There you go. So why would you wish this upon the rest of humanity?
Because I like watching the internet go up in flames. Not helpful.
You are why we can't have nice things. Seriously.
Oh, come on. They're going to go ahead and have... maybe I got the wrong one. Is it? Which one was Army of Darkness part of?
Living Dead. Or, no, Evil Dead. Evil
okay,
Dead.
Then I meant Evil Dead. Which doesn't really improve things all that much.
No, it really does. I was confused. I was like, is he reaching? Where is he reaching? Convince me. Persuade me you are right about this.
God, who's the actor that played Ash?
It's the
I can
Chin.
never remember his name.
Bruce Campbell, the Chin.
Bruce Campbell. I just want to see Bruce Campbell in a Quentin Tarantino movie. I think that would be awesome.
Wow, that's terrifying.
Did you see the television series they had with his character?
Yes.
They did a couple of seasons of that, and I watched a few episodes, and I was like, wow.
The first season limped out of the starting gate and got funnier as it went along. And the second season was pretty sort of even. And the third season was whack.
Bruce Campbell was also a supporting actor in I don't even know what the TV show was about. It was a bunch of he was an ex-CIA guy. Burn Notice. And his character was awesome in that. Spies, bunch of whiny little girls.
Good characters.
Mm-hmm. Good characters.
Now, why are they good?
The show is mediocre. A lot of shows are mediocre, but some actors and some writers have this knack for doing great character.
Which means?
I wish, that I could figure out how it goes. I've been told that I do good character. For the life of me, I can't tell you what makes good character from bad character. I take and put the personality that I want to have in the character and try to make it shine through. It's really hard to describe how you do that.
There's a scene in is it Caliban's War? It's either first or second Expanse books. Amidst is Jesus Christ, he is borderline psychopath. And we don't find out or get a hint as to why until much, much later. And so it kind of starts all to congeal, and that character finally starts to make sense. And we get these flashes of, yes, he's capable of doing horrible, awful things, but really he's what is it? Lawful evil or chaotic good?
Sometimes you just need a lawful evil character.
Yeah, sometimes you do. I guess lawful. I can't remember how the alignments work, but fuck that shit. He's chaotic good. He will do the most damage in the universe if he thinks it's the right thing.
That's chaotic good.
And his moral compass is means well. But we don't.
Chaotic good.
But
the hobbits from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So the that moment where you figure that out is also a moment where some of the characters hear that for the first time. Actually, I think only Naomi hears it, but regardless, it suddenly puts this character who I had a very uneasy relationship with because he was just so... He was funny. He was had a lot of really dark humor, was very literal in most things he said, and was capable of absolutely extreme violence. But we never got into his head, so we never saw what was going on there or why these people are hanging out with this lunatic. And then we get that later, and it makes that character pop. because there's been all this expectation that there's something else going on. This guy's just screwed in the head. We find out why later. And suddenly everything just starts to make sense. And the writer had set that up.
The character was interesting before you knew why.
Right. I guess that's what I'm saying. Because the character did not belong with the other characters. It stood out. He stands out a little bit differently from everybody else in that crew. And that's how it works. And so he becomes a really good character.
And you pick up little bits and pieces of his personality as things go through. And I think if you're looking at a character that pops, you have to have an idea of what their backstory is, even if you never tell the reader what that is. And you've got to make sure that their personality comes through. Their background and their personality must drive their actions and their behavior. That's how you make a good character.
So then there's the question for you, Mr. I don't outline shit. When you have these characters, do you plan on doing that before? Do you figure that out before you pull the trigger? Do you have that idea before you've started writing the characters? Or have you been lying to us all this time?
I've been lying to you all this time.
Oh my God! It's a DRS exclusive. Terry Mixon is a lying bastard.
It's totally true. When I start writing a new character or a new series or a new story, I don't know what the characters are really like as I start. It's a ways into it before everything becomes clear. And then I fix it in post when I go back and I re-edit the first part of the story to make everything consistent. You know, that's what they say. The difference between the first and second draft is where it makes you look like you knew what you were doing all along.
Yes, I understand.
And I hadn't heard that before, but I totally live it.
Most of the time, I don't figure out the backstories for these folks until we stick them wherever they're going to be put. We encounter them the first couple times, and I get an idea who they are. Sometimes I have the backstory already there. Amy from Gare's Inferno. Well, half her face is fucking burned off. I think there's a backstory there that I should know before I start the book, because so much centers around that for the character.
Do you do that for all the characters or just the major ones?
Really just the major ones, but with characters like Pawns or Emmy or even Trey from Closet Treats, I knew a lot about them before I started the books. But it wasn't like I sat down and did a detailed... This is your life story. It wasn't like that at all. It was just basically some event happened in the past that caused this. Well, we don't know what this event is necessarily. We have an idea, but we don't know exactly how it happened. Well, how is that going to drive the character? That incident that is obviously going to be the piece of information that I'm going to hide till the end, or at least until 3/4 of the way through the book. And I'll only go into it then when it makes sense to go into it. Before that, we give them flashes, we do that and the other. But we make sure that it does have impact on the character's personality if that's what we're going to bring out. And then when you finally drop the bomb, it's the characters are freaked out. The audience is freaked out. It's wonderful. And then they usually shut the book on me and throw it away.
They should obviously have read The Street when that was still a possibility.
Oh Christ! So that's mostly how it works. Except some of these bit characters take on a life of their own, and suddenly they become very interesting to me, and I'll start pursuing certain facets of their personalities as much as possible, and that's how sometimes a secondary character becomes a primary character.
When I started writing Empire of Bones, I knew who I wanted Kelsey to be at the beginning of the story. I knew I wanted her to be a decent person. I wanted her to be the pampered princess, the daughter of the nobility, the one that didn't get her hands dirty, that had a bit of an attitude, a bit of, I don't know, she was upper crust, and maybe a little bit of that bled through in how she treated people. She felt a little entitled, we'll say. And I knew that I wanted to totally destroy her at the end of the book.
You are
because I knew
such
what
an asshole.
I knew what I wanted to do to her. Her change that I did to her was the basis of that character. I just had to get from A to B. And the story that I wrote took a universe that they didn't really understand and developed as I went along. People that are reading it are figuring it out pretty much as I did. I made it up as I went along. And then when I went through and read it the second time, I made everything consistent. And I took the elements of the character that I discovered later in the story that were necessary, and I seeded them through the first half.
Did I ever give you the impression that I have a plan?
That's pretty much me. Yeah.
It's me too.
I'm writing a short story right now. I've written about 5 chapters worth of the next Empire novel, but I have to get a short story written for an anthology. So I'd hope to write a little bit more on it today, but I didn't get it done. I've got probably another couple of days to get it wrapped up, and then I can get it off and get back and have nothing but the Empire book to work on. This is the second short story in this particular set of characters that I'm writing. So the characters actually have a personality, but they're still developing because it's only a short story. I'm still introducing things about these characters that the readers will not have gotten from the first story. And that's fun.
No, it's not.
Oh, it absolutely
is.
It's
tedium, drudgery, and boredom. Why do we do this for a living again?
It's in a way, it's kind of physical comedy, this short story, because I'm writing another story about Zig and Zag, the bounty hunters.
Oh, yes. You've already done one of those, and now you're writing another one?
I'm writing another one.
So is your plan to write...
Picking up just about where the other one left off.
Is that because it's a general theme? These are general themed anthologies?
In this case, it's one that has to do with science fiction stuff. And I was inspired to go back to this story. I wrote it so I could write more stories in it. And I had a lot of fun writing the first one.
Okay, fair enough.
And I intend to have more fun writing this one because I've got this little strap of a girl and a 2.5 meter tall minotaur. I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, if I remember my Athenian history... Was it Athenian? No.
Greek.
Yes, but the Minotaur was from Crete?
I think you may be right. I think that may be Cretan.
It was Isle of Crete. I think that's where it was. Oh, I'm sure somebody's going to correct us if we're wrong.
Sure. Like kids these days don't know where their Minotaur from.
They don't even know what a Minotaur is.
Pretty much. I've actually been listening to a trilogy set with bringing the Greek gods to life in the mortal realms of modern day. And I finished 2 of the books in it. I need to get back to it and finish the 3rd one. But it's fun having one of the major storytellers be Artemis.
Oh, boy.
Needless to say, she's got a little bit of an attitude.
Again, I'm shocked. Not really. It sounds like it, though.
And she has these attitudes usually when they're not that great for what she wants to get accomplished. She literally is like a bull in the china shop, which is kind of ironic talking about minotaurs.
I was going to let that one slide.
The author that wrote this stuff obviously did a lot of research and developed these characters because this character has been consistent throughout both the novels and going into the 3rd one. And it's been interesting watching this person grow and change. And that's another hallmark of a great character, is they're not static. They're not Dirk Pitt from a Clive Cussler novel. Not James Bond from an Ian Fleming novel.
Are you really dissing Are you really dissing on those mythological creatures, characters, icons?
I wouldn't call them mythological.
Oh, I would. I would.
They're mythic, perhaps, but they're not mythological.
Well, they will be.
Only in the future.
Perhaps, but essentially they are mythic. They
Yeah, I'll agree.
are icons that are just.
They
just
are
there.
they are iconic characters. I do agree with that.
But that doesn't mean there's
And
that much of substance there.
it's a different form of storytelling.
Yeah.
Their storytelling keeps the characters the same so that visit after visit after visit, the reader gets the exact same experience of those characters as they did before.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not me.
As an
can't do
artist, I am offended that you would say such a thing. I would put my nose up in the air. I think that there are other ways.
I was saying something, but I got distracted by Mythic. I was saying that a character growing from start as they go along is a hallmark of a great character, because they cannot remain unchanged by the world. They have to have the events that occur to them alter them in some way. In the stuff that I write, Kelsey in book 11 is nothing like Kelsey in book 1. She's grown. She's been through some hard experiences. Her behavior has changed. The way she reacts to things has changed. Of course, it's more like Corbin Dallas looking for a negotiation nowadays than it used to be, but, that's the way the character grew.
Uh-huh. She went from the pretty, pretty princess to the deadly princess.
The self-rescuing princess.
Self-rescuing princess. I don't need anybody to rescue me. I'll do it myself. While she smokes a carton of Camels, drinks 5 bottles of bourbon at the same time.
Which that makes writing this new book fun, because I'm taking all of her neat little toys away from her.
Ah, yes.
You've got, I don't know if it's coming through on your recording, when you exceed a certain voice threshold, it all cuts out.
That's been happening to you too.
Ah.
I think that's Discord protecting us from blowing out our mics.
Okay.
Or blowing out each other's ears. So maybe we need to... There's still some experiments going on here.
Now, how about that?
No.
Man. What were you going to say before I so rudely finished my thought?
I have no fucking clue, because now I got nothing.
Characters growing.
You ruined everything.
What does that bring to mind for you?
Erotica.
Well, that is growth. Not particularly the kind of growth I was looking for in this story, but as somebody that has written erotica, I am familiar with it. Which reminds me, we really need to go ahead and make an inquiry about the slash fic anthology that people are putting together about the DRS host.
No, god damn it, no. Terry, cut it out. No.
I totally am waiting for that first
How
submission.
many fingers
Where
can I hold
is
up
that
at
first
once?
submission?
We are not accepting submissions for that bullshit. No. Fuck you, Terry.
Send your submission.
No. I'm gonna give them your physical. I'm gonna give them your physical address if you start that shit. And maybe some possum shit will show up at your house.
I'm actually surprised that something strange hasn't shown up at my house. But nowadays I have a post office box on my mailing list, so that's not exactly helpful for it showing up at my house.
No, thankfully, yeah. I'm waiting for you to get.
At least it's not what happened to Mark Wandry, where people kept sending him Rainbow Dash stuff.
Why?
I'm a little bit unclear about what the genesis of that was, but he apparently got quite a bit of Rainbow Dash memorabilia.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a My Little Pony thing.
Ah, maybe he's a brony.
I don't believe so, based on his responses to the gifts.
He must have made some ugly comment about My Little Pony and all hell broke loose.
I don't know. All I know is that some people that have written in their anthologies have included My Little Pony stuff with him attached to it. So, yeah, there's something there. I'm
guessing he said something at some point, and it got grabbed onto, because that's never happened to me. That's never happened. I don't know what that's like. I have no clue.
So, if the whole slash fic thing isn't for you, maybe you could, send some brony stories for Paul.
No.
No?
In a word, no. I'm going to say no. And you know why I'm going to say no? Because it's the only logical response to that kind of bullshit. That's why.
I would totally believe that if this part didn't end up in the show, but it's going to be there because secretly you want it.
Excuse me? Wow. Okay, that's the bumper for this week's show right there.
You want the My Little Pony stuff. You totally do. You want to see things added to that shelf behind you.
I am not going to give...
Somebody sent me this possum thing. Oh, bullshit.
No,
you put it right there where everybody can see it.
There will be no context for that clip. It is just going to be that, my expression, and then what you said, and that's it.
You can't fool me, Cooley. I've got you pegged.
God. Oh, the blackmail opportunities, man. You just have, no idea. I mean, at some point, I'm going to put together the deadly reel and send that to Terry. It's going to be all of our moments that are just too awful to put even put before the patrons.
Yeah, there's 550 episodes, of which I've been in 500 of them. I can only imagine there are hours and hours worth of compiled stuff that somebody could pull out that I've said.
So what you're telling me is... What you're telling me is, in all those episodes, you're the only remaining common thread of how bad they are.
I believe that is true.
Ooh.
I'm the lowest common denominator.
When you are the single cause of failure in all your relationships? Yeah. The fuck were we talking about before you started us on this mess?
Sending you My Little Pony stuff.
I got possums.
I wonder if there's a My Little Pony possum.
Dear God in heaven, why would somebody make that?
I got no idea, but it would be awesome.
Yeah, somebody...
Rainbow Dash possum.
Somebody sent me a video about a lady who's got a possum as a pet.
I would imagine that would work out.
Wow. Just wow.
Some people have skunks as pets.
Remind me not to visit their home.
I understand skunks are, if they're raised from young, they're actually fairly sweet animals.
I'm sure they are, but you have to descent them just like ferrets.
You do.
And even then,
they're still very musky, yes. Still
musky.
Indeed.
Excuse me. Had to grab a glass of water. My apologies.
Characters. Let's drag ourselves back to characters.
I don't know what the point is. You're just going to throw us off on another tangent.
It's true, but, we have to have some kind of common thread in this show. Other than my antics.
Other than. So you write series, and you got the character changing over those many books. Is there ever any temptation to dial them back toward bad old habits?
I don't look back. I don't look back at the personalities that were before. If it suits the plot going forward, I might send them a setback in that way. But it has to serve the story that I'm telling for me to do so.
When you have there are some situations where you can get a character to act out of character and have it be believed, which is some kind of severe traumatic experience or being thrown into some kind of mess that has got them completely turned around. You're smiling. That's not a good sign. I'm sure some shit is going to be thrown right back at me in a minute. There are ways you can, ways you can do things to make it believable that the character has now done certain things, but I wouldn't go too far off of where you've been or it's going to end poorly. What?
That pretty much exactly describes the novelette that I wrote for the second the second box set
right.
that I have.
Right. Yes.
Because one of the events in one of the books sent Princess Kelsey down a very dark road, and it involved her hunting down and killing some bad people in a thing that probably was a little over the top for her, but she wasn't in a good place. It was in character for that time and moment for her to be the merciless avenger.
Now, as sick as it sounds, the beauty in that is now that is something you can carry around and deal with later in other stories.
There's going to be some guilt.
Yeah.
There's going to be some guilt because I'm going to bring those events back into the storyline, not as a major plot point, but as something to help show the development of the character. She's going to regret some of the way that she behaved. She doesn't regret the outcome, but it wasn't her. In a way, it's a lot like forgiveness. You don't forgive someone else for them. You forgive them for yourself. But in this case, she's got to put what she did in context. She's not feeling bad about their ends. She killed a bunch of bad people. They deserved it, especially J.R. Handley and Christopher Winder. They deserved what happened to them. And, but she regrets, I don't want to say she became bestial, but she became someone with no mercy. And that's not who she is.
Right. So she's put into this bad place, and now you've got to deal with it later in other tales.
You could arguably say that she murdered them.
Well, there you go.
You could arguably make that discussion. They outnumbered her. They had weapons. She gave them a chance to surrender, and when they declined, she exterminated them. Every single last one of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to change a person. So there's going to be consequences for that.
If it doesn't, then there's other problems they've got.
I can foresee an event somewhere in the book that I'm writing where she is going to turn her hand away in a situation where maybe arguably she shouldn't.
Yeah. And then suffer the consequences for that,
Because
Terry is an asshole.
For somebody that doesn't, write evil stuff, I sure am a butthole to my characters.
You are, man. Everybody accuses me of being the dark-minded one, but yeah, you're there. They just haven't figured it out yet.
I'm stealthing in right under the line.
I just realized I'm wearing that meh shirt.
Meh.
Meh. Pretty much describes the last 2 weeks. Meh.
That's not what your words were for this.
No.
They were more like the 4-letter variety.
Yeah. I think one began with F and was used copiously. Kind of drizzled around the conversation like syrup on pancakes.
Like a French culinary disc. We will put some fuck on here, and then it will be good.
Yeah, now you sprinkle the fuck in.
You cannot overuse the fuck, because then it would be overseasoned.
Let's see Emerald opening up a can of something. I don't know. Fuck.
This is the gluten-free fuck.
Oh my God, I need a drink. Jesus Christ. Okay, that was just wrong. At some point, I'm gonna have to start marking the YouTube episodes as just plain adult.
Somewhere along the line, I stopped caring.
I noticed. It was me that didn't care. Now it's you.
I used to not be, so vulgar when the humor struck me, but apparently my filters have just gone away with age.
I'm calling bullshit on all of this because before Patreon, there was still a pre-show. It was not recorded half the time, but there was still a pre-show. And none of you ever heard any of it except for the bumpers.
The number of times you cursed and said, "Why am I not recording this?"
Because I have some shame.
Apparently I don't.
Oh God, Terry, what am I going to do with you? Just old, crotchety, and just don't give a shit anymore.
It's true. Although there are notable moments where we've had to excise something that I've said because I allowed my passions to carry me away just a tad too far.
You see, in the future, folks, I've got this mute button here. When he starts going off, I just...
So the mute happens and I'm over here.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
that.
nobody hears anything.
That'll actually be about perfect. About perfect. So writing episodic, you move the characters from one point to another. Do you do the same thing with minor characters?
To a degree. There are some plot lines going on with minor characters that I have in my head, but they just haven't hit the right time to make changes. They do grow too. One of the minor characters in the Empire books is the tactical officer on the destroyer. Her name is Zia Anderson. She's a lieutenant when this starts out. At the current time, she's a commodore in command of basically a carrier. And she was a point of view character in a couple of places in the later books. And she had character growth there. I raised her from a secondary character to a primary character for those point of view. Because her story and how I wanted that character to grow required that I have her voice. That's one of the things that I'll do in this story. I have a couple of 3 characters that are going to be point of view characters all the time. Depending on who I want to grow, I could pick anybody from the cast of characters and throw them in as a recurring point of view character for that novel.
True. And when you say point of view character, you're talking about third-person narrator, right?
That's right.
Okay. Just making sure. Have you done this whole switch between first and third yet in a book?
I have not.
I have not either.
I've done it before. Well, one of the first novels that I wrote involved 3 different first-person point of views.
And how did that work out for you?
I didn't know that was bad, apparently, when I started doing this.
It's not necessarily bad. There are a lot of books that do that. It's much more literary and how it's done and told. But yeah,
it was well received.
Acceptable.
The same point of view was they were segregated by chapters. And I clearly stated who was there right up front. And so there was never any doubt.
Yeah, which is what you have to do if you're going to do that. And unless you really want to piss off your readers and have them try and figure out who's talking.
Who the fuck is this? Just throw in a random character. You're like, okay, who is he? What is he doing here?
Yeah, now now we're in absurdist territory. Yay. You've moved this all the way to Pirandello. You're welcome. Or I'm welcome. Or something. I don't know. I wouldn't go that far.
Even for characters that don't have a point of view voice, they've grown. Talbot, before he became a point of view character, his life changed. He had a definite personality and a different change in his outlook. And you can still do that with secondary characters. You don't have to make them the primaries to make that happen. If you're going to have a recurring character, even if they're not the narrator, you should have them grow. They shouldn't be the same if somebody's looking at them in the beginning and looking at them at the end.
Unless it's James Bond or Dirk Pitt.
They are a different type of story.
They are a very different type of story. I do so many horrible, awful things to my characters that by the end of it, if there hasn't been a change, I haven't done my job.
They're either dead or in therapy.
They're either dead or they're going to be in therapy forever until the next book where they get in even more trouble. Yeah, therapy for life. Therapy for life. Some of my readers are probably going to pick that up from our listeners from Evolution. So anyway, there's all that damage that you do to them, and then you could wait a year or two in book time and just see how trashed out they are. And then come back. Other ways you can really mess with characters right there.
Oh God, the characters from let's take a side tour and look at the Marvel Universe characters from the movies. Each one of them has their own unique, distinct personality. You can guess how they're going to behave under a certain set of circumstances and stimuli.
Which is unfortunate.
I don't think that that's the case at all.
I think it's very unfortunate.
That's very literary of you.
Deadpool is a perfect example. He's not going to change. He's a fucking wacko. He's just that. That's who he is. He can't really ever go over the top because he's already been there. It's just what new crazy can he get into? It's not that he's going to be any more sane or insane the next time. It's just what new crazy stuff are you going to drop on him?
Well, he's somewhat like the Clive Cussler of the whole Marvel universe. So he's a different beast.
Yes, he is. He's a very different beast.
Whereas Rocket Raccoon has lost Groot. And now he's got the child of Groot that's growing up.
Yes.
It's damaged him.
The Groot Jr.
What's the last Marvel movie you saw?
Probably Black Panther.
It has been a while for you.
Yeah, but between Black Panther and the others was a very, very, before that was Deadpool.
So you saw Deadpool and just stopped caring about the rest.
I stopped caring about Marvel a long time ago.
Sacrilege! But in any case, looking at their characters, they are much better at writing character than I think DC is. This may start a war, but
not with me. I'm just going to sit there and shake my head.
I think that the Marvel characters have more personality than the DC ones.
All right.
And I'm not sure exactly why.
Are we talking comic book? Are we talking movie? Are we talking graphic novels? Are we talking cartoons?
In this case, I'm speaking movies because it's been decades since I've read any of the comics.
Well then, context necessary to stave off flame war.
Bring it! Bring those flames! If you have any complaints about my opinions, send a note to Paul! Because I don't care.
I don't either. Terry started that shit. You look him up
and
throw shit at him.
Here's the deal. I say what you like about the DC movies. They just always seemed, the characters have always seemed somewhat monotone in the movies that they're making. And I'm not sure why that is. They don't seem to have the depth of characters' personality that they have in the Marvel Universe. And I'm not sure exactly why that is. I can't quite put my finger on it.
I would say that although I enjoyed the Keaton Batman movies, because that was a pretty human Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy is pretty much my favorite of all the comic book movies ever. That is still the thing, that trilogy right there, especially the second movie, which I consider to be pretty perfect for what it is.
Go ahead.
It is about the character that trilogy captures that character's arc completely, because it doesn't end up being static at all. It ends up moving from movie to movie, and he changes drastically when he starts realizing that, hey, I can't fix all this. It's impossible. I can't do it. And the more he tries to fix things, the worse it gets in a lot of ways. And so, what do we get in movie 3? He's stepped out. He's just given it all up. That's a big arc.
That is a big arc.
That's a really big arc to come from figuring out what you want to be when you grow up. Oh, poor little rich boy. And then the second movie, deciding how you want to be and what you are to your city, and then realizing that you are just as bad as some of the things you've been fighting. And the fact that you have caused a shit ton of damage.
Watching the more recent Batman, which I've already forgotten the guy that's playing it. His name escapes me. Who is it? Who's the guy?
Affleck.
Ben Affleck. I have nothing to say about his Batman, but I thought his portrayal of Bruce Wayne was one of the best I've ever seen.
Why?
Because you could feel the age and the pain. I think that they're going to replace him as Batman going forward. I wish that they would have kept Affleck on. Maybe have him retire the cowl and find someone else. and stay on as the mentor, because his portrayal of Bruce Wayne carried through with how many years, how many decades Batman has been fighting this. He's tired, he's hurt, and he would prefer, I suspect, just to give it all up. And it comes through in the portrayal.
Another reason why The Dark Knight, the graphic novel, is, I think, one of the best of all time. Because it shows that he has retired. He has given up. He has turned into a drunk. He is wasting money left and right. And they kind of caught that in the third movie. They grabbed pieces of it, but really the graphic novel just put it perfectly, because you get to see just how much damage it's done to him psychologically, how it's affected his life. All those things make great foils for the character. And I think the reason why we are in love with those kinds of stories with these heroes is because of that. It does humanize them. It takes the super out of the superpower, because at the end they're just characters, yes, but we associate with them because of their humanity. And Minnie has chosen to take the stage.
Hello, Minnie. Batman is the exception of the rule when it comes to DC. When you look at the other characters, hell, all of them, they're pretty much towering icons. Unlike Marvel, where everybody's all mixed in together, even when they do Justice League, it's a bunch of individuals doing things.
Justice League.
It was not a great movie.
I haven't seen any of those films. I haven't seen a DC film since Dark Knight. Since Dark Knight Rises.
Looking at characters like the Flash that they had in the movies, Cyborg, they just didn't feel like they grow. They didn't feel like they had changed. And maybe that's one of the reasons that I don't particularly care for them.
Yeah, maybe.
Superman. That's one that, does he ever change? Where's his humanity?
You want to start another flame war? The ghost of Justin McCumber is going to come down here and kick my ass if I say anything.
Do it.
Sorry, Justin, but Soups sucks. Yeah, I guess that's why I never liked that character. It's more or less invulnerable. Ooh, except for this rock you can put around him, and then it weakens him. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, whatever. It's a ridiculous character. Too powerful. Kind of like Green Lantern, also too powerful. Way too powerful. To be around humans at all and expect it to be a fair fight.
A lot of DC characters are very powerful, where if you look at the Marvel ones, you've got some really powerful ones, but you've also got some that are not so powerful.
Like
and they're
who?
Fun to watch.
Like who?
Falcon. The Falcon.
Okay.
He flies.
Okay.
That's it.
So,
That's it.
That is a superpower.
He's got a machine that helps him fly.
Oh, fuck that guy.
It's not a superpower. He's got these wings that somebody built for him.
I thought you were well, I mean, that Iron Man, right? It's the same bullshit. It's like, you're not a superhero. It is sort of the same.
But I mean, even Iron Man, his suit's pretty damn powerful.
Yes.
Am I even saying the right name? Is it Falcon?
I don't know.
I don't know. I
don't know my Marvel. I don't know my
nowhere.
DC.
Let's go ahead and have that Falcon guy with his wings. Let's go ahead and have him fight the Flash and see how that turns out. Have him fight Thor. Not going to work out for you.
This is destined to go poorly. Yeah. That will be the epitaph right there. The humanity thing, that is what makes it so difficult to fall in love with any of the characters that are like that are invulnerable. They just feel like set pieces. They may move a story along, but they're not really interesting unto themselves unless you're just interested in seeing them wreck shit, which I think is kind of what some of the adventure movies have become anyway.
If you take it back to space opera, okay, there are some series that you have in military science fiction where that's what people do. They're powered people or crush their enemies, and it removes the humanity from the characters. And I think that you've got to have that humanity if you want to have a character that shines through to the reader.
Yeah, because otherwise it doesn't mean anything. It just becomes a video game. It really
becomes
does.
a what?
A video game.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes nothing more than playing Dead Space or something like that. Whoa, hello. I'm having microphone issues now.
His microphone attacked him, folks. You saw it here first.
Yeah. I'll be filing charges later. I think that's one of the reasons why I haven't done anything with mechs per se. And if I have, it's been putting people in really terrible positions where they shouldn't be inside those, and they really don't help much. But
yeah, you pretty much did.
Yes, I pretty much did. Here's a super powerful thing. Oh yeah, let's take all of that off and make it into Anyway, I think that's why I haven't really written any of those kinds of stories. It's also why I don't write kaiju or haven't written kaiju. I have no connection. The creatures are just creatures. They have no kind of thought or anything. It's like Godzilla. All right, well, Godzilla is going to come up and fuck shit up. I can't relate to Godzilla. There's no thought patterns going on in Godzilla's mind that I can, hitch onto and see what's going on.
Well, you're not really supposed to in a kaiju.
No, and that's the thing. It's all about it's the same thing with a zombie story. It's about the people surviving it. It's not about the monsters themselves, right? But I haven't come across an interesting situation like that, other than what I've done with say, The Black.
When I was a kid, going back to comics, I got a special one of the special comics that I remember reading at the time was a Superman comic book where they had Muhammad Ali.
Okay.
And somebody had to go fight and be the champion for Earth to save the people on the planet. So where did they take him? Place where there's a red sun, where he's a normal human being. You can imagine Superman got his ass handed to him.
Yeah. Exactly. Hey man, why don't you take that yellow sunlight away and fight me like a real man? Isn't that what Zod and those guys did to him?
They pretty much curb stomped him, yeah.
Yeah, you thought you was all Billy Badass. Look at Snap.
In that particular comic book, Superman was carried out of the ring on a stretcher. They beat him to a bloody pulp, and he refused to fall down. So who had to fight at the end? Muhammad Ali.
Of course. And he whooped everybody's ass.
He's probably better at boxing than Superman.
I don't know. I remember the old 70s cartoons where he's bashing meteors left and right, Yeah. None of that made any goddamn sense.
It does to people that have actually read those comics.
Yeah.
Characters.
What about them?
If you care about your characters and you nurture them, it's going to show. That's how you're going to have to make characters that people care about.
Yeah, even the bad guys, so to speak, can grow.
They should. The bad guys, holy crap, they better be people that have good and bad things, or they're just going to be a caricature.
Yeah. If that's what you're going for, great. If you're not, then
I've totally written some caricatures as bad guys.
Yes, I know you have.
And it was fun having a mustache twirling villain.
And
although some of the readers didn't appreciate it.
It's all about the context, Terry. The context. The situation, blah, blah, blah of it all. Yeah, that's right. I used the technical term, blah, blah, blah.
I can't argue with a technical definition like that.
Since I've gotten to the point where I'm saying blah, 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 we should probably end this show.
I think we should.
It's been a long
We've kept them around long enough. It's been one of those days.
Well, if you would like to make fun of us for how bad this show was and the fact that we cannot possibly keep on topic? Wow. You can send
You can't even pronounce words.
Shut up. You can send an email to show@deadrobotsociety.com. You can tweet me at Paul_E_Cooley. Or you can join us at the listeners of the Dead Robots Society Facebook group where all the insanity happens, and sooner or later we'll be announcing our Discord channel. God help everybody. We have to thank our... What?
You're doomed.
I know I'm doomed. You can find us at YouTube, youtube.com/DRS podcast if you want to see our ugly mugs. To thank our wonderful host, Pod Hoster, for making all 15 bazillion episodes available of DRS available for your ear holes. And if you want to support the show and the crazy that goes on and make sure Minnie stays in kitty treats and that Luna stays in doggy treats, you can find us at patreon.com/DRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you will get access to exclusive content like live shows and other madness. Like unexpurgated versions of shows. Well, mostly unexpurgated. Mostly. And at the $10 level, you get your name read. And our $10 patrons this week are Andrew Smallwood, J.D. Barker, Aaron Beezer, Jesse Tacos Are Life Orcut, Veronica Jaguar, not a possum, Jack F. Erickson, Kelson, a tutor who tooted a flute. Come on, folks, update your stuff. Isabel Cushy, Rick, sold my first short story. Thank you, Bayonet Book Shaw. You're still congratulations. Lisa Slack, Nathan Cosby, Cheryl Winters, Tracy Bodine, Devin Lee, Drew Subtle as a hand grenade, and Oatmeal Bernardi. Wow.
That's not very subtle.
Wow. Chris Winder, Andre Conde Moraes, and J.R. Handley. Thank you, folks. Thank you to all of our wonderful patrons. And you wonderful listeners and viewers for joining us in this insanity. Hopefully we got our technical details or technical problems, glitches, whatever worked out, but I cannot promise a goddamn thing.
There are no promises?
I can't promise anything. It's been that kind of month. Oh my God. Anyway, with that, we're going to sign off so that, you know, we're just going to sign off. Bye, folks.